Hi, Madison. I'm so glad you are here today. Welcome.
Thank you, Terry. It's great to be back.
Yes. So, we wanted to talk to you today about a super fun topic, Russian tempering. But before we dive into that topic, I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your story. I know you had started your Buteyko journey as a means to improve your health. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Where do I start? I came across Buteyko. My mom actually first came across Buteyko when I was about 10 years old, but she didn't really think anything of it. And at the time, I wasn't really interested. And a couple of years ago, I guess it's 2 years now, I went through a really rough patch with my health. So, what really started it was that I just finished competitive dance when I was 16 years old and abruptly was pulled out of that. So I really went through a real depression, and my health was changing because my whole routine was changing as well. And I got to a point where I was on antibiotics every 3 weeks for lung infections, and antibiotics really destroyed my gut. And from all, I had a lot of what looked like weight gain and no energy, just lots of really difficult symptoms to experience, especially as a young person. It was very frustrating because I think I was 19 years old at the time, and my health was so poor. It didn't add up. And wanting to do all the things that a normal 19-year-old could do, I was already restricted because I was born with cystic fibrosis. And then on top of that, I was experiencing depression as well as anxiety. My gut was destroyed from all the antibiotics. I was gaining weight. Like nothing was going well. So Buteyko was really my last resort of trying things. Up until that point, I had tried a lot of other modalities, and they did help with the symptoms, but I really wanted to address the root cause. And I saw Buteyko as addressing the root cause, which was the breathing. And unfortunately, I didn't work with certified Buteyko practitioners who held a patent like Sasha does. So the Buteyko experience for me, the first introduction to Buteyko wasn't really Buteyko. It was something quite different and quite extreme. And so I got to a point where I was 88 pounds and pushed to my absolute limit in my health, and things weren't getting better. And so luckily, by the grace of God, my mom came across Sasha because I was too ill to even lift my head off the pillow. And Sasha immediately met with us and told me to stop practicing that kind of Buteyko that I had been introduced, and to really just take a break and regroup. And the first thing that happened was that she, based on the kind of symptoms that I described with her, she suggested that I get my tonsils removed, that I might have coronary sepsis, which was the first discovery of Buteyko. And I'm very grateful for that because I was able to get my tonsils removed because they were chronically infected from the time I was 12 years old. And looking back, my health issues started from the time I was 12 years old. That's when I started to have more weight gain, and I started to experience all those symptoms, and they just built and built and built until I couldn't tolerate it anymore. So I was very grateful for that when I came across Sasha. And that was the first step, was getting my tonsils removed. And she luckily recommended, she had the same experience. So she really guided me in that way. And from there, my health began to improve significantly. And then I was able to get to a point where my CP was at 20. And once your CP gets to 20, you can start tempering. So once I was able to get myself to that kind of place by Sasha's guidance, which was incredible, which took quite a few months to get there and build my strength. And she was very patient with me because I was an eager 19, 20-year-old who just wanted to get back to being a 19 and 20-year-old and not have to deal with all these ridiculous health issues that have come my way. So she was really great with guiding me through that whole process and then getting me to tempering. And tempering now has been an incredible asset to what I'm doing to fully recover my health and hopefully fully overcome symptoms of cystic fibrosis. And yeah, it is very fun. I think that's what you said at the beginning, like tempering's super fun, and it is. It truly is. So that's a very long answer to your question.
So you got to expand your practice at a certain point, and you dove into the Russian tempering. So what was that like? So that introduction to it, was it something that you were interested in? Were you not sure of? Or tell us about the introduction from, or getting started actually with the Russian tempering.
Yeah, Sasha had always suggested that nature was such a really good healer. So she really suggested, as part of my regime for treating cystic fibrosis, was running. And so she says, try to run outside as much as you can. So it's very baby steps. And I think in March of 2020, she was like, I'm doing a tempering course. I think it'd be awesome, since your health is getting there, to start with that. And then once I tuned into that tempering course, that was really the true introduction. And it was great. I mean, I had heard about tempering before, but I'm very glad that I heard it from her, because there's so much out there. And I mean, I learned from that Buteyko experience that it's important to get that information from someone who's qualified to give that. And I heard about the story with her daughter and being able to heal her daughter, and I was just blown away, and how high her daughter's control pause was just from tempering alone. That really impressed me. And that was the intro to Buteyko and not Buteyko, tempering. And she told some amazing stories of people who had started the method, and kind of got us to do little baby steps with all the elements, right? With dirt, so put your feet in the soil. It was springtime at the time, so I would go out back and put my feet in the soil. Luckily we have like a garden and things like that, so I could do that. And or even in the grass. And then with like water, she said you can do like put ice cubes on your face and kind of just massage your face with ice cubes, which was actually really nice and refreshing. And she also described how nature really improves your health, in mental health specifically as well. And that really intrigued me, because depression was something that I'd been struggling with from the time I was 16. And since starting it in those baby steps, even being exposed to the sun and not wearing sunscreen, but also she's very careful with all those sorts of things. And obviously you have to be smart about stuff and wearing less clothing. And so that's kind of how I started. Like, I was wearing summer clothes in springtime in Canada, which is basically like, feels like winter everywhere else. And so it was funny, because some of the reactions I'd be getting from my family was like, what are you doing dressed for summer? It's like winter outside, and things like that. But that was how I was able to strengthen my immune system. So that was my introduction. It was actually very fun. And the way that Sasha teaches is very empowering, because it's more about experimentation than a prescription, which I really love. So I could really make it my own and take on certain experiences for myself and experiment with what the guidelines she had given me, to stay safe, of course, because that's the most important thing. Not take it to extremes. And the benefits have been awesome. I really believe that it has improved my health significantly. And I'm getting my family involved too. Like, I'm writing with my sisters right now. And my goal is I try to get outside for at least 3 hours a day. Doesn't always happen, but, or 4 hours a day would be awesome. And I try to get my sisters to come with me. Like, we'll work on our writing outside on the lawn, so my feet can be touching the grass and I can get some sun and things like that. And that's been helping me sleep at night. And one of the things in Buteyko is like reducing your breathing. Like, you can reduce with a nostril. And so what I've noticed is that the days where I get outside for 2.5 hours or more, I'm able to sleep so much better, and actually sleep with one nostril with reduced breathing and not breathe heavily. So it's quite remarkable how something that I can do so passively can contribute in such a positive way. So that's another very long answer to that question, to your question.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So Did you say that you started in March of this year?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not very long. It's only June now. So we have some
Yeah.
video clips that we're going to show here.
Okay.
One of the clips is you walking around outside,
Yes.
but I think the biggest thing to this video that is maybe not easy to see is what time of the year you were doing it. When were you doing that video here? What time frame is that? Is that spring
Yeah,
or?
yeah, it's spring in Canada, but it still snows.
Mhm.
It's very cold still, like, you know, in the negative degrees sometimes. I don't know if in that video you can see snow, but I think that there was at some point. Um, yeah, so it was quite chilly, and I was able to like run around in my bare feet because that was the most important thing. And it does ground me as well. Like, um, I've been doing eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is for complex trauma that I had in my childhood. And having cystic fibrosis, there was some trauma there as well. And that also contributes to peace of mind, which has been helping my health significantly. But as I'm processing, it's a 2 week, um, every time I process a new trauma, it takes 2 weeks. And it's very intense and stressful for my body. So tempering has actually been very helpful for absorbing the stress, because when I'm outside and my bare feet are on the earth, it totally absorbs um, that. I don't even know the proper science behind it, but it does help significantly when I'm stressed from the processing that I've been doing. So that's been another incredible benefit to improving my mental health as well, and my physical health. So they're working together quite beautifully thanks to tempering.
Yeah. So I hear you say you started with baby steps, really. I mean, you were talking about ice cubes on your face and going barefoot. And then we also have this video clip of you with pouring water over you. So your baby steps moved pretty quickly. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that video clip here?
Yeah. So lately, I would say, the past month or so, there's been quite a few days where I've been waking up with a CP of 20 or more, which has been quite lovely. And one of the things, I forget his name, but one of the kind of, I guess, founders of the tempering technique, one of the creators, he would walk every morning, regardless of the weather outside, and pour an ice bucket of water on his head. And I started to try that too. And it's the summertime now, so it's not really that much of a risk, but that's what I'm doing in that video, is just doing what he was doing. And it's quite fun. It reminds me of when I was a kid, and just playing in like a water park or something. And it does improve your mental health as well, and it is refreshing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're speaking to the benefits of the mental health and the physical health. And then there's also this joy component to it. Do you feel that joy, that childlike joy component to this practice?
I would say that the freedom of exploring it relates to that childlike joy for me. Because growing up with cystic fibrosis, there was a lot of limits on what I could do to improve my health, and it felt very restricting and, like I said earlier, prescriptive, and not really something that was my own. And that childlike joy and kind of freedom I feel with tempering is more about the sense of agency I feel over my health than even the thing itself, which sounds funny, but there definitely is a joy in feeling like I'm doing something that is fun and also good for my health, and it doesn't have to be miserable. And there is, of course, when you pour the ice bucket on your head, there definitely is, like, I don't think I'm very consciously aware of it, but I would definitely say there is more joy overall in my day thanks to it, but I don't think I'm very conscious of it.
So do you have a favorite element that you like working with so far?
That's a great question. I would say I love the sunlight. I like working with water, and then I also like working with the dirt in the soil. as well. Those would be the top ones that I use every day.
So do you have any advice for anybody that's apprehensive, thinking about possibly embarking on this journey? Do you have any advice for those people?
I would just say, I don't really know if I have advice as much of just being open to taking a look, I guess, and seeing for yourself how it can benefit. Because the thing about tempering that I really love is that it's something you can really weave into your day without it being a real effort. It's quite easy, like even very simple things like opening your windows in the house. Very, very simple stuff that really does make a huge difference. So I would say that if people are apprehensive towards it, I don't really see why they would be, because it's very, very gentle and very easy to implement. And whatever you're apprehensive about in the course, there is Q&As, there is an open dialogue, there is no sense of a certain way to go about it. There of course are guidelines and things to keep you safe, but it's not something you can really screw up horribly if you're being careful, and really affect yourself in a very negative way. So that would be my advice. I wasn't very fearful or apprehensive. I was quite the opposite. So it's very hard for me to to understand where someone who would be apprehensive about it is coming from. But in my experience, that's what I would say.
It's so good. I love to hear your story continue to unfold. I love it. I absolutely love it. And do you have any other parting thoughts that you'd like to share with us today?
And just in general, I think, again, it's just such a great way to add health to your life in a really passive, easy, very easy way. And it does have such a positive effect on your family as well. Like I've been able to positively influence my family to open the windows in the house and things like. It's not really something of conflict or tension. It's very easy and logical. Like if you're worried about support from family and things like that, which I certainly was concerned about, it's very common sense. So I don't think you're going to get much pushback because it's nature and it's healing, and it is what it is. It makes a lot of sense and it works and it doesn't hurt. So that would probably be my last bit of things to say.
Yes, easy and logical and reaping the benefits. Where do we sign up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's been amazing to spend some time with you today. Thank you for sharing your experience with Russian tempering and sharing your videos and your photos. I know you're going to help a lot of people.
Oh, thanks, Terry. And thanks for having me again.